Thank you everyone for joining in. I am your host Sean with Blue Ridge Silverhound. Hope everyone's having a great start to your day. And today in this video we have a really cool topic to talk about. So as you guys know, here in the last few days I did a video highlighting 5 of the most ridiculous error coins that probably should never have existed given the circumstances. In this video, based off of some of the feedback from some of my viewers and subscribers, people want to know what are the top Lincoln pennies out there and really the most expensive ones to ever sell on an open market. Well, I got great news. After doing some exhaustive kind of legwork, some research, and finding out exactly what are the big Lincoln penny errors, we got them right here in this video. Alright, so there's going to be a couple of like the really obvious kind of errors that won't be on the list, but what I elected to do was put 5 pretty unique types of errors. Okay, so the first error that we're going to look at here momentarily, I'm kind of going to group them all together as one specific type. Alright, so that way you guys aren't missing anything else when it comes to a specific error that I know will come up in the vein of a conversation once I do this video. So before we go ahead and get started, as always, like, share the video, feel free to subscribe if this is your first time here. We talk about coins and collecting money. You can't get any more exciting than that. If you enjoy the content in this video, then your support would be greatly appreciated, especially given the times that we're living in these days. It would mean a lot. So anyways, let's go ahead and get started with the first coin on the list. By the way, all of these coins were sold on heritage auctions at some point in the past. So it should be a lot of fun. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start off with the first coin. Now, it doesn't really look like a whole lot, but I've talked about this one on a number of occasions. Now, the one that we have here is the 1983 Lincoln Memorial Cent. It looks like any other Lincoln Memorial Cent that we come across. Usually if they look like this in this particular condition, we wouldn't think any better and just go ahead and spend it. Alright? Show of hands. Who has done that at one point in the past? Well, there is this kind of like little secret, alright, that not a lot of people know about. But with this particular coin, you guys will certainly know a lot more about it when I tell you that this coin right here was struck on a blank that shouldn't have been. Alright, so marking from 1982. Alright, 1982 had a number of different die pairings with small dates, large dates. You know, they made them in the bronze composition. They also made them in the newer alloy, which was the copper plated zinc core alloy coins. Okay, those are what I refer to as zinkins, and so does a lot of other people just because of how light they feel and how cheap they feel. But in 1983, they were all supposed to be produced in this new copper-coated zinc alloy composition. So there's not supposed to be any more leftover bronze planchets left over. Okay, planchet is just another fancy word for blank. They all have to start somewhere, am I right? So this is what it's commonly referred to as a transitional error. That's where you have a change in composition from one year to the next. Okay, another good one would be 1964 to 1965. Dimes, quarters, and half dollars were still being made in that 90% silver composition alloy, and then the following year, in the case of the candy half dollar, it actually went to a 40% clad silver. But for the dime and for the quarter, they went to a completely different, because of rise in costs of using silver, they went with a copper nickel alloy composition, which is to this day called clad. Alright, so those are clad coins. Obviously, there's a huge discrepancy in value as far as its intrinsic kind of value is concerned. Silver always going to be worth a lot more than some weird experimental sandwiched coin with copper and nickel. But that also was another transitional period. And another one that I know will come up if I don't bring it up, it's going to be the 1943 date of Lincoln cents. As you guys know, they made a 1-year, one-shot steel, zinc-coated steel composition coin that even to this day is one of the most popularly collected single dates in Lincoln pennies just because of what it is. All right, as you guys know, during World War II, the U.S. was rationing some of the metals that they needed for the war effort, like copper and nickel and things of that nature. So they went with the steel composition. All right, so that's another transitional year. So when you have a transitional error, there comes a point where the U.S. Mint accidentally produces 1 year of coin using a previous composition. Okay, in the case of this 1983, they actually produced this coin on the bronze planchet. Okay, it's 98% copper, 2% zinc, and it just wasn't supposed to happen. All right, there is a difference in weight. The bronze coin, and I always tell people, if you think you got one of these, weigh it. It has to weigh 3.1 grams or thereabouts, okay, plus or minus a little bit. There's not a whole, big spread, because a copper-coated zinc regular coin that you would normally find for 1983 would weigh 2.5 grams. So it's a considerably different weight when it comes to the size of the coin. All right, so this one right here is a PCGS Mint State 63 red-brown example that was discovered over 6 years ago and changed, just as kind of like a, as a chance kind of meeting from person who, kind of noticed that there was something weird about this coin. Maybe it felt a little bit heavier in hand until it got onto a scale. But this one right here is sold again on Heritage Auctions for $18,800 on April 24th of 2014. Keeping in mind that this is probably one of the least expensive transitionals. I mean, when you get to talking about the 1964 to 65, like if you found a 65 quarter in 90% silver, that's a very valuable coin. Okay, it's worth as much as this, is maybe even more. You never know. But the big one is that 1943 steel cent. If you found a 1943 coin that was produced on the older outgoing bronze composition, that one is incredibly valuable. Again, that's a coin that has sold for many hundreds of thousands of dollars in the past, and it's still a very valuable coin today. So that's the first one on the list. That's actually the more involved one, but these other ones will go a little bit easier. So the next pretty miraculous looking penny error is going to be this one. This is actually a 1943 Lincoln cent that was overstruck onto a already produced 1943 Mercury dime. This thing is incredible. Just looking at it, you could see just both designs kind of morphing together into what you see here. What I love most about what they call double denomination coin errors like this one is that you get the best of both worlds of each design. Okay, you have the overlapping elements to it all, and that's what really gives it not only fantastic eye appeal, but huge desirability on the secondary market. These, even to this day, exist out there in some of the newer dates of coins. All right, it just so happens that the 11-cent double denomination error that you see on screen is one of the more common double denoms. So keep that in mind. So this one right here is an NGC Mint State 62 example, and this one sold August 14th of 2006, keeping in mind that there are not too many, if not any more, other coins like this where it's been struck onto a Mercury dime. This one sold for $28,750. A simply amazing coin if you're able to not only find one, but identify it as being a double denomination. Truly one of the most memorable and marquee Lincoln cent errors. All right, so the next one we have here is another really cool one. Okay, so this is a 1943 Lincoln that was overstruck on an already produced Cuba 1 centavo coin. All right, so during the wartime, okay, 42 to 45, the U.S. Mint actually produced coins for other countries. this is one of those cases where they produced some of these Cuban coins, which is crazy that you have both going on in the same mint facility. So let's say one of the Cuban centavos, had fallen to the floor. Someone picked it up, threw it back into a batch of blank Lincoln cent at the time, 1943. These are zinc-coated steel planchets. Threw it in there, and then the rest is history. Eventually, that already produced centavo will go into the striking chamber. It would be now a Lincoln cent and a Cuban coin all in one. It's really, really cool how you could just imagine some of these things happening in the mint. Keeping in mind, we're talking 80 years ago, so people were, it was a war effort. Things were different, okay? People weren't as much in tune to quality control as they are today because of just of the things that are going on during that time in history. So this coin right here, PCGS Mint State 62 example, sold for $38,187.50 back November 1st of 2013. Okay, again, very memorable coin in the annals of Lincoln cent errors. You just don't get any better than this one right here. All right, so this one right here is going to stump a lot of people, but by the time I talk about, how this came to be, you guys will understand. Now, it remains to be seen if this was a genuine mint error or maybe if this one was possibly just, a mint employee just kind of playing around to see what it would look like. But what we have here is a 1993D Lincoln cent that has the reverse of a Roosevelt dime. So how exactly does this happen? Well, it's real simple. With any production of coin, okay, it involves a set of two dies. One that will create the impression of the reverse of the coin, which is what we call the anvil die in coin striking terminology, I guess. And then the other one would be the obverse design. Okay, in this case, it is the Lincoln obverse design that you see here. That one would be on the hammer die. That's the actual moving piece that will plummet and strike the blank into the coin that you see here. Now this one right here, obviously they had taken the normal Lincoln Memorial reverse die out and they exchanged it with a Roosevelt dime die reverse. So in this case, this is a coin that graded out PCGS Mint State 65 red. Of course, this is a phenomenal mint error. Again, remains to be seen if this is one of those that was simply a byproduct of just some experimentation or shenanigans, or if this one was just pure chance that they forgot to change out the corresponding anvil die before it was struck. And how many of these were struck, it remains to be seen. So this one here sold for $51,750 back January 7th of 2010. So it's been 10 years since this one has crossed the auction block, and it has never resurfaced since. It is holed up in some high-profile collection. And then finally, we have a coin of a similar namesake, only this one right here is what is affectionately referred to as a mule. All right, this was done intentionally as kind of like an experimental type of strike where they mated up two different sets of dies that have no relationship to each other. All right, so in a way, it is kind of like the previous coin, but this one right here was under a quote-unquote controlled environment. All right, kind of the way that they did the Sacagawea mules in 2000 that has the state quarter obverse on there instead of the other obverse with Sacagawea. But this one right here in 1999, obverse die muled with a Roosevelt dime reverse on a Lincoln cent planchet. All right, so this is obviously a copper-coated zinc composition coin as the final product, I guess. This one right here is a PCGS Mint State 66 red. And this one probably should never have escaped the mint. All right, so, there are just certain errors that usually don't really leave the mint. This would be one of them, any sort of like mule pairing type affair. Sometimes these coins will get sold to a congressperson or whoever, and then, it just goes on down the line from that point forward. you know, it doesn't really matter where it goes. Okay, it depends on the origin of these, you know, kind of coins. But this one right here sold for quite a bit more money than the previous coin, and it's 4 years older as far as the sale. It sold for $138,000 April 29th of 2006. Simply amazing. These are effectively the top five most valuable Lincoln penny errors. All right, and keeping in mind there are a couple others like the steel cent transitional year, which will probably, you know, usurp a lot of these off of their effective throne as being the most valuable. But that one needed to go and get kind of like batched up with the 1983 that I had talked about at the beginning of the video. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was sure a lot of fun, you know, just talking about the possibilities out there. Keep in mind the fifth coin on the list. This is a coin that is like the real deal. This is an instant win lottery ticket for some folks out there. It's right up there with the 1969S double die offers Lincoln cent. They exist. They are out there. It just takes a little bit of searching. You know, if you have a nice quality scale, be sure you use it, just so you know that you have the real thing. All right, so I want to thank you guys for watching. Again, I'm your host, Sean, with Blue Ridge Silverhound. As always, like, share, subscribe to my channel, hit the bell for instant notifications. That's important because if you're looking to get the first-hand access of all of the newest uploads as they're made available, you will be able to get them as long as you hit that bell. So anyways, Coinaholics, it was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We are discovering together. I will see you on the next Bitcoin video. You guys take care and have fun with the hobby.